All right, so we're gonna talk supplies. First off, your cutting machine. You're gonna need any Cricut machine except for the Joy. Your 12 by 12 mat. Unless you want to use 12 by 24 and you have it, then you're good to go. Now, the next thing is your dowel. This one is 3/4 inches thick by 36 inches long. You can also use the 7/8. I think the 7/8 will come in 24 inches in height. So it depends on how tall you want it. Usually, I'll have them 24 to 36 inches tall. And you can get these at Home Depot. Don't mind, I got an old one that done got bent up, but we're gonna use it as just an example. Then you're gonna need your wood base. You can choose whether you want to get it from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Then we have these craft foam balls. You get them from Michael's. That's going to be on the top of that base. Then you're going to need green paint. Any brand acrylic paint will do. I'm using these brushes. You can use a paintbrush. That's just to paint everything green. Now, one of the most important things you're going to need is a drill. Any brand will do. I use Ryobi. Now, you're also going to need drill bits. Depending on which size you bought, this one is 3/4, so I'm gonna use the matching 3/4 bit. If you got the 7/8, you would use the 7/8 bit. You can find this Home Depot as well with the drill as well, or Amazon, you can find them also. Then, of course, your glue gun that I didn't have ready for y'all. So I'm using the Ryobi glue gun. Any glue gun is fine. The little ones, it's perfectly fine. And then your cardstock. Now, depending on which characters you're making, you'll know which cardstock you need. But you will always need the white, 12 by 12, green, and yellow. That is for our Sesame Street sign. And then because I am doing today Elmo and Ernie, I'm using 12 by 12 black, 12 by 12 red. And then we have 8.5 by 11 orange, yellow, blue, and pink. I didn't show that close enough to that. This is the orange, yellow, blue, and pink. And they're all 65-pound cardstock. So now that we have our supplies, we're gonna start off by creating our base. Okay, so you're gonna choose which one we're using. Today, we'll just use the circle, right? Now, they have the working mat you can have under here. It's on the other side of my craft room. I don't feel like going over there. So what I do is I get just a stack of cardstock. Put that on there. That is because I'm a little klutz and I will drill straight through and mess up my table. So I'd rather mess up some cardstock. So we're going to grab our drill. Gonna open it all the way up. Get our drill bit. Now, if you're not sure, also ask someone. Also, in Home Depot with these, they have the supplies. You can just cut it down the size you need it instead of buying the entire long piece. So I just line this up, like poke it right in the middle. And you see how the size matches up? So you know that's the correct one. We're going to put it in. And then you just turn. You can use just pan. It'll be loosey-goosey until it gets a little tighter. And then you'll be good to go. As tight as possible. See that? Now, if you want to use clamps, they have clamps that you can bring this to the edge of the table. I'll come down a little so you can see the edge of the table. Right there. If you wanted to bring this to the edge, right here, use a clamp that could fasten on the bottom of the desk on top of here and just squeeze it together to hold it tight. We're gonna use my lovely hands. So it is the tightest. I'll try to make sure. So you're gonna hold it still. You're going to, oh, you know what? Let me just show you something. If you have a pencil, I would prefer you to use a pencil because sometimes it's hard to cover up. Just so, if you think you're kind of bad with finding the center, me, I usually just poke wherever. Take a piece of paper, just make a little line, a light line. Go across the other way to center here, make a line. And there goes your center. Poke, that's what this piece is. Poke that right there. I think I did that right. I usually don't even do this for myself, so excuse me. Stick it in a little, and I think we're gonna have to do another angle so you guys can see better. And then we're gonna start drilling. So let me switch to another angle so you guys can see much better. There we go. So now we're gonna hold it still, poke it. Let's see. I could go a little more. See, we got a little hole in the back and it went down to the paper just a little bit, but that's how I protect my desk. See, we have our hole now drilled. So we're going to untighten, remove, just put all of those stuff back. Now we're gonna get our pole. Like I said, don't judge my pole, all right? This is actually not for a client. I am just using this to record the class. And then we stick it right in there. See that? Now, there is a little space. We're going to fix that. You're going to put glue, no fuzz, and you're gonna hold it there, and then you're gonna hold it still. If you feel like that is just not good enough for you, you see that little hole here? You can put this in here. I've done it once and screw it in, but you would have to screw it and make it go all the way further in so that this can stand and still be flat if you wanted that extra reinforcement. All right, so we're gonna put that down and then we're gonna get our glue gun and get to work. Okay, so before we glue, I just wanna show you, I cut it down. I took a measuring tape. We're gonna go from the top. And then I saw where the character would stop, which is 16 inches. Then I just went a little bit more at 26 inches right here. So now the pole is 26 inches. Again, when you go to purchase from Home Depot, before you even pay, you can cut this down. I literally used a knife in the house and like a little sledgehammer and just kept knocking it. A little bit ghetto, but it's okay. It's what we gotta do at home to improvise because I didn't cut this piece before I left Home Depot. Now, you see that it's real ragged. So most likely I'm just gonna get a scissors and chop some of this down and sandpaper. But one is gonna be nice and clean and clear here. This is the part you're gonna keep exposed. Your part that you chopped up for your size is gonna be the one that goes in here. That way nobody sees the ragged edges, you see? So that's how it's gonna be. So I'm just gonna clean that off. I should probably do it on camera so you guys can see. Let me grab a scissors right now and see how we do this. That way, it does not even have to be like perfect. Just get that bad boy down. As flat as possible. I don't even like this scissors. Let's try another one. This is not getting close enough, but there we go. Don't try to crunch it, just keep, because this is not like no thick, hard, amazing wood, you know. There we go. All right, so let's get the glue in. Okay, so we are close up, so we get a good view. We're gonna grab the glue gun, and you're going to put glue, a good amount, around the base. Right? And just a little bit here, not around the center, but more around the edge. And move fast, because y'all know how the glue gun do. So now you're gonna poke it in there and hold it still. Hold it for a good little while. It's gonna take a while to dry because we put so much glue, right? I'm just moving that just a little, just in case any glue came out. I didn't want it to stick to the cardstock. So now we're gonna let this dry. See, I let it go, it's already halfway dry. Oh! So I gotta pay attention. I was trying to show y'all that no hands, I wasn't holding it, and it's already stable. Just what I always do, I step all the way back, a few feet back, just to look at it and make sure it's straight. And from what I'm seeing, I'm gonna show you guys. So I stepped back and it's straight. So we're gonna leave that to dry. If you're wondering why I keep the bloopers in here, because I need you guys to see that everything ain't perfect. Even for me, who's teaching you how to do something I've been doing over and over for the past couple of years, we all be knocking stuff over and making mistakes. But after that, it's gonna be time to paint. So we're gonna let this dry, come back, and then start the painting. Now that we are dry, it is painting time. So look, nice and sturdy. This baby's going nowhere. Now, first off, before you paint, you want to get that off. Or you could paint over it. It's solely up to you. But I would recommend taking off any stickers on your hole. So I'm not going through all that on camera, but y'all get it. Just gonna shake it up like a drink. I always paint the top piece first. I started painting the top because I would stick the ball right on top and you would see a little, but I'm gonna show you another way where you don't really have to, but I do it just in case. And I start from the top. Now, you're not gonna see any perfect techniques. Just paint it. And I usually do 2 coats. Because as you can see, 1 coat, let's get in the corners, you can still see some of the wood. Or maybe if you can find a darker green, it'll help some. So, yes, I do just pour some on the cardstock and paint. And I always do a first coat before I cut so that once I'm finished cutting everything on the Cricut, it's dry and ready for the next coat. Or even midway, you could stop and just test it and get that second coat. That way, by the time you finish assembling, you might not have to wait for a long drying process and just put everything together. Once I get lower, I'll just place it down. See, that's why I said to cover it up. So with the second coat, guys, it was dry within like 5-10 minutes, right? So I'm doing the top. And what I'm gonna advise, so you don't get the fingers too dirty, do the top, leave the middle, then do the bottom. That's my floor creaking that y'all hear in here. Don't mind that, okay? We here for the crafts, okay? We here for the crafts. And this way you can get the edges nice and clear without messing up your hands. And you see that second coat, it's exactly what was needed. Not everything is fully covered. And look at that. We are done with our base. Don't forget to get your little middle part. I don't need to do that really on camera. So then let this dry, and we're gonna go over to cutting and assembling, and that's it. We're done this baby. So put it down, get that middle part that you didn't get, and that way your fingers don't really get dirty and everything. Look at that, nice and covered. We're ready for Sesame Street. Are in design space. So the first thing we're going to do is select our images that we want to use. So you're going to go over to, I don't know why I'm searching, but images is right here. Also, if you want to purchase an SVG from Etsy or somewhere else, you can do that. All right, so I was already in there. So you type in Sesame Street, that I did right up here, and then you click search, and you're going to get all of these here. Now, Sesame Street is a licensed, they're licensed characters, so you're going to see the prices for everything. You do have to pay for these images. You can also pay for an entire image set. They're usually like anywhere from $30 to $40. So first, you want this Sesame Street sign. I already purchased it, so we're just going to select it. And when you look on the bottom, it stays right here for you to know everything you selected. Then you can click these three dots right here, and it'll say View Image Set. So that picture is part of an entire set of Sesame Street images. I already purchased this a few years ago. I think it was like $35 for all 100 files. So we're just going to click on it, and it's going to take us to everything that comes in this set. So you have all of your characters here. You don't have to purchase the entire set. You can just select which ones you want, and they're usually about $2 for one. So we're going to choose something easy, which is Elmo. And then I'm going to show you another one that's pretty layered. Let's do Ernie. So you have your choice of everything all through here, and you just choose which characters you like, right? So now we're going to add these three to canvas. And you have to know like what size you want. So usually when I do these type of centerpieces, I would make them about maybe anywhere from 15 or 16 inches in height. So we're going to change both of them to 16 inches. And if you're new to design space, I apologize. Let me just show you right up here where it says size. That's the width and that's the height. So when this little thing right here, you can lock and unlock it, and I'll show you what that does as well. So you're going to keep it locked though when you're changing this size. We're going to go to height, and we're going to pick 16 and just press enter. Now let me make a duplicate of Elmo. Right up top here where that little plus sign is, that's to duplicate. So now when you unlock Elmo, when you change the width or the height, the other one will not move. It will not automatically adjust. So let's say we change this to, let's say 12 inches. You see how that distorts because the height is going to stay the same. So I'm going to go back and show you what it would look like when it's locked and you change it to 12 inches. You see that? The height automatically adjusts. So that's the difference when you lock and unlock the sizes. All right, so when it comes to the Sesame Street sign, I always put my, not the height, the width at about 11.5 inches because I want it to fit on a 12 by 12 inch cardstock. So we're going to have to fix this sign up. So let's start with that. The first thing you're going to do is ungroup it. So at the top here, that's ungroup. You're going to click on that. And now we can separate all of the pieces. Very easy. So when it comes to this outline, I will tell you that it's up to you if you want to keep this outline, and I'll show you two different ways. So let's say we keep this outline, and then I'll show you how to customize the sign. Matter of fact, keep the outline is a little easier, but I'll still show you guys a second way. So this white layer, you're going to contour it, which is right here. And you're going to go to contour because we don't need all of these little slits. So instead of individually choosing which one you want to erase, we're going to click on hide all contour. So now they're all gone. Now for the Sesame Street sign, we're going to contour again, right down here, the bottom right. And what you're going to do, because we want to get rid of every letter that says Sesame Street, unless you're keeping the sign to say Sesame Street. This is only when you want to customize it with someone's name. So for instance, let me show you. Look down here when I click right here. You're going to click on the S and it removes it. See that? So instead of going through all of that, we're going to click on hide all. Go back and just click on number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then just click on the outside. See that? And it stays the same. So we're going to go to text. You're going to put your caps on. And let's do something Tyler Street. Right? Now, we're going to make our lives easier. We are not going to cut these and individually paste. Too much work. Now, what you're going to do, though, you are going to unlock this. You're going to pull it across where you want it. No specific size. Just set it in the middle how you like it. There's not much space on the end. If you prefer more space, just bring it in. And you have more space, make it longer. See that? So now we're just going to move this out the way so that we can highlight. You're going to highlight all of that and then come down to the bottom right and go to combine. And when we go to combine, we're going to go to, oh guys, wrong thing. Lord, do not combine that. You're going to go to slice. All right. So it sliced it out and there we go. So now we have our custom name. We're going to highlight all of these and just delete them. You could click delete on your keyboard. Now you see we have our white. So when we put this on top of this, you'll see the white when you cut it out. Now when you're cutting, don't forget, you see the inside of the R there? Or if you have any letters that has inside a D, we're going to keep those because that we're going to have to glue so you can see the letter, right? And then, now this is in the back because we're working on the other ones. So I'm just going to go to the front, the top here, click on arrange, bring to front because I like to see the completed work. So there we go. Now another way, what I was saying, which is a little bit harder, I think this is definitely easier, so I won't even show you the other way. But what I did before is I contoured this one and kept this as the back layer. And then I glued a little square right here and that little circle piece right here. But it's too much work. So keep it this way, guys. We're just going to be real careful when we're gluing. So we're going to layer them back together. We're going to highlight it all. And we're going to click on group. Just to keep them together if you end up moving them around. Now, when you're doing a double-sided centerpiece, make sure to cut 2. One for the front, one for the back. Now, let's talk about cutting our characters, right? I'm going to minimize the screen right down here. You can just minimize. Now, if you have a 12 by 12 cardstock, I'm going to ungroup right here at the top right. You're just going to put your 12 by 12 red and just cut this one layer. Your 12 by 12 black, cut this one layer, and that's it. And life is easy, right? Then with Ernie, it'll be the same thing. So I'm going to ungroup it and show you. What size is this? This is 8 by 9. So you can just send this on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, but your black layer will be your 12 by 24. So you don't need to change anything if you have 12 by 12 cardstock in all your colors. And if you have your 12 by 24 cardstock and 12 by 24 matte, you just send all of these to the mat and cut. But if you do not, I'll help you. Also, when you have these colors like this, we're going to slice these up so that when you send it to matte, it's going to cut like this, and you're going to need, see, this is 13 inches, a 12 by 12, but you can slice these pieces and send them to a regular size. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a shape. Also, if you feel a little confused, you can also drop questions in the Academy and I'll answer them. Also, you can send an email at academy@thecraftprint.com and I can answer any of your questions, guys. So we're going to choose a square. Now, for some reason with Cricut, when you have something exactly 12 inches, it'll tell you that it's a little bit larger than that 12-inch mat. So you're going to do 11.5 inches and we just change that. So you're leaving it to a square, 11.5 by 11.5. This represents our mat. So you'll know everything that's going to fit on your mat because it fits into this square. Okay? Now, you see this? Look at that. If we put this over here, it's larger than your 12 by 12 and you need a larger piece. So this is what you can do. You have two options. Hold on, I just want to bring this down, out the way, a little lower, and I want to duplicate just so I have extras to work with. Now, so what you can do is take one of these, cover. If you want to see exactly, you can go to the top, go to Arrange, and move this to the back. So that way you can see, right? Now you can highlight all of these, click on Slice, move that, delete it. You're going to have two pieces, this piece that sliced from the white and the piece that sliced from the back, black. So now you have these smaller pieces and you can send it to your either 8.5 by 11 if you want to, or you can send it to your 12 by 12 cardstock. Now you see this big space. If you don't want that big space, just bring in another shape. Let's say a circle here and slice the eyes out. So now when you send it to matte, it's not all attached and it can fit on one piece of cardstock. So we're going to highlight. We're going to slice it. So there we have all of our white pieces that can fit on one piece of cardstock instead of all that space it was taking up. So now this yellow, it's 9 by 6. So you can get an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock for this. And then when it sends to matte, just turn it sideways for it to fit. So we have 8.5 by 11. We have our orange. Just keep checking up here. It'll fit the 8.5 by 11 also. But if you don't want to waste cardstock and you have all that space again, you can slice it out with circles. But let me show you another way. I think the slicing is the easiest. You would just bring that circle, cover, highlight, and slice, right? Or you can use a contour for this as well. So we can, let's duplicate that. I just like to show you guys multiple ways and you decide which one is easier for you because what's easy for me might not be easy for you. So we have this layer. You're going to click contour and just remove the hands. See that? Go back in because this little piece here we don't want to cut. Where you go? Where you go? Right here. So you can click it on the image here or on the panel on the side. And there you have it. You have the hand. Go to this one. Go to contour. Remove the head. That removes the mouth. You want to remove the entire head. There we go. And then the mouthpieces individually. And see, there goes the hands. Now it still has that space. You can duplicate again. You see how this is a little bit longer? Go to contour, remove the bottom. Go to contour on this one and remove the top. And don't forget that little piece inside. So now we have the 3 pieces and they'll cut together and save space on your cardstock again. So let's do the same. We don't want it big. Oh, you know what, guys? Let me show you something. I'm going to go back to images. And we're just going to type in Ernie. I should have showed you this from the beginning. I like to keep, this is the same one right here. So we'll just move him down here. I just like to keep an extra one on hand. And remember, we have him at 16, so you could just change it to 16 if you needed to. So that when I'm assembling and I come back to this mat, I can just look at the picture just to make sure everything is going the right place, right? Or you look at it to line it back up, and I'll show you what I'm saying. I hope this is not too much and you guys are following along. If not, I'm always here with questions. So we're going to slice again. Let's take one of our, I done scrolled too far down, guys. How did that happen? Okay. Let's take one of our squares here and just slice that baby out. And it's going to fit. Remove that, remove the black one, and we're just keeping the red one. And look, this could fit like right in here. So when you send it to your mat, if it's all over the place too, you can move the pieces on the mat to save space. And I will show you that too. So we're just going to move him right back up here. Blue again. So this is actually 8 by 8 by 9 by 8. So it can fit on a 12 by 12 cardstock, see? So you don't even have to slice it if you don't want to. I still usually slice them just so that they fit a little bit closer on the cardstock. So this circle, you see that? What you can do, unlock at the top, just make it a little wider, and we're going to slice those. There we go. Get rid of our black pieces, and now we have our blue. Ta-da! Then we have our white. Just move that over there. We have our pink, and then we're left with this. Now, this is what I was saying. If you don't have your 12 by 24, we're going to slice this and cut it in 2 pieces and just put it back together once it's cut. I don't know how I keep moving all the way over on the other side of the screen. So I'm going to move the square to the back so we can see. There we go. Look at that right here. Also, here's another thing. When you're trying to decide where to slice, like let's say we did from the bottom, I wouldn't want to do this because this is 2 pieces I'm going to have to glue together. And when I do it from this way, see that? We only have just the bottom, and a lot of it will be covered by the pants. Let's see. A little higher, this goes like right here. So even if your seam is not perfect, the pants can be covering most of it. So we're going to highlight and slice. So now you have all of your large pieces. Get rid of the gray color. And everything can fit on your regular mat and your regular cardstock. Now let's get over here to Elmo. Now with Elmo, if you have your 12 by 24, like I said before, I keep moving, guys. I don't know how that is even happening. Let's get this square and move him up here. You can just cut and life will be great. But we're going to work like we don't. So we're going to make another square just to work with the red. Again, I like to see the character in the front, so I'm going to move my square to the back. and then we're gonna slice Elmo. I always try to like have the bottom like an easy piece that I would have to glue together. So you're going to highlight it and you're going to slice. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And there we go. Now, here's the thing with Elmo. So I'm not even going to use a square, and here's why. If I cut Elmo just a square, it's just going to be a straight line right here, which you can do. But what I like to try to avoid is seeing these seam lines. So with Elmo, I would more slice him right along here, right where the legs are, because that looked like somewhere it would be attached. This is just so random cutting straight through, right? So we're going to get a circle. Where you at? Okay. And we're going to open it up. Now, what you want to make sure too with your square is that where we're slicing, does it fit? And it does. See, it fits within our regular mat. So we're going to bring the circle, move you out the way, make it large enough where it can slice right there, and we'll be gluing it together from the legs. So find a good area. If you have to tilt Elmo a little, like I'm gonna move him around a little just so it can cut like on a nice seam. Also, I don't like it there because look, this little piece would have to be attached. You want to make sure this is off, like right there. I was trying to get it where it's the exact curve along this line. So let's see if I can. So what I'll do, I'll unlock and make this a little longer instead of so round, more oval-ish. Bring it together and we might be able to get it. See? Closer and closer. Just make it a little skinnier. And you have to make sure you don't go too skinny to cut off, right? So, see? There we go. Hold on. Do. All right, Elmo, let me see. I'm trying to get it exact. And if you don't, it's perfectly fine. I'm just tilting him a little. It looked like I might not be able, but I tried to get as close as I can. You know what? I like to make sure I get it. So let me show you a trick that I do. So it fits perfectly right here, but that's too high. We don't want that little piece to have to be glued. So this is what I usually do to get the perfect shape for my slicing. So you see this circle here? You see that comes down right here. So it wouldn't be able. So we're going to put those two together. You're going to hold your circle. Select your circle up here. Hold shift and select your oval. So now both of these are highlighted. Go to combine. So we're just going to weld it. If you weld, you cannot unweld once you save. But if you unite, you can ununite. It's the same thing except when you save, you cannot undo a weld. So we'll just use unite just in case we have to undo it after saving. So you see now that made it the exact shape that I need it to be. So you can weld together pieces to make it fit if you don't have the exact shape that you want. See that? I do this a lot. So we're going to highlight it and then slice. There we go. So we got his legs off exactly, and we just have to glue those pieces together. And you see how it looks more cleaner? Like this is how it would belong. You know what I'm saying? So if we, let's say we glue this back on, but we don't glue it exactly to like Elmo's legs. Even if we have that this little gap right here, it looks like it's actually part of the design because he has the little cutouts. So that's why you want to cut somewhere that doesn't look that visible. Because if we would have sliced, let me use this and show you so you know exactly. Let's say we just did this, right? Now I'm going to do slice, guys. I'm going wrong place. Slice. Look at this. It's like, okay, we see literally that his legs, when we put this together, you can see his legs were chopped off there. So that's why we don't want to do it that way. So we're going to go back up top here, just keep going back and to undo what we did there. There we go. So we're going to delete this. Now, the main thing is, if you haven't saved, save it, name it before you go and do anything else. I already have it saved as, you know, little Centerpiece 2, and I'm just going to save your changes. Save as is to save it as an entirely new project. There we go. So now before I go, remember what I was saying? I like to line them up just so I see what they look like. So I'm just going to line it up. You don't have to do this. You could just send it to Matt if you're ready to go. Now remember we tilted Elmo a little, so his legs ain't even matching up here. Put Elmo back. All right, putting Elmo back together just for visual purposes. I can't see that, so I'm going to arrange it to the front. Same with this. We're going to arrange to the front. There we go. And Elmo's good to go. I'm going to save again, just so I don't lose any changes. All right. So this is why I brought this, my little friend here back, because when I line this up, I just want to make sure I put everything in the right spot. So we're going to grab his shoes. Oh, everything is in the back. So we're going to, let's highlight both of them and then arrange them to the back so that everything we move right now will be to the front. So we're going to take the shoes, line it up, this red piece, line it up, and we have his pants. Just so that when we're finished cutting, we're going to come back to the screen to see where to put everything. And I'm telling you guys, I look at it over and over and over again just to make sure I'm lining everything up. We're going to arrange to the front. We want the mouth right here. And then the last set of pieces are our white. See, this is why I'm looking like, where does this go? Okay, this goes here. We're gonna move the blue up a little bit. And you'll see when we're gluing all these things together, same thing. You're gonna lay them first before you glue anything, just to make sure everybody is going where they need to go. All right, so now we're going to just save that. And at this point, you don't even need this little bad boy right here. But what you can do, now we're doing centerpiece. Let's say you wanted to make the matching cupcake toppers, right? Get this, do not ungroup it. What you're going to do, you're going to change the height to 3 inches. Then you're going to come down to the bottom and flatten and send that to be print and cut. And there go your cupcake toppers, right? So let's come out of here. Now let's move Elmo. And there you go. When you send to make it, make sure you choose the right machine that you're using. You can use every Cricut machine except for the Cricut Joy. You're going to go make, right? We're using everything on the mat unless you have, if you have white sticker cardstock, you're going to choose multiple ways. And remember, with your smart materials, you need the Maker and the Explore 3. So when you choose multiple ways, it'll let you choose here without the mat. So if you choose without the mat, it's because you're using one of the smart materials. You can change it to on the mat. Now, you see right here, you see they lined up all of our black pieces. This is if you didn't use a mat. So without the mat, it can be as long as needed. So we're going to change it to on the mat. And look at that. See? Now everything fits. And both of the feet on our regular size. Same here again. We're going to change to on the mat. Now, look at this. Look at this. First off, we can fit, I think we could fit these two together instead of using 3 sheets of cardstock. We can use 2 So this is what we're going to do. You're going to click these 3 circles. Now, hide selected means to just take it away. We're not using it. But move object. And now we're going to choose which mat you want it to move on. So if you choose another color, you will be changing that to black to cut on that color. We're keeping it in the red, and we're going to choose this one with the Ernie. Confirm. And you see it moved it here. So all you got to do is just move it out the way. Now, you see this? It's like, Chandel, it don't fit. It does. This little arrow here, you just turn it. See that? And now we just need 2 cardstock. This one is going to stay like this until we send. And once you press continue, it'll be gone. Now, for our orange, we're using on the mat. Now, it's always going to select your 12 by 12. You can just change it to 8.5 by 11. And now, look at that. It's fit on that page for you. On the mat again. And we're going to change it to 8.5 by 11. See that? It already turned for us. Now, if you see what happened here is in the canvas, there are 2 different color yellows, and that's why they were sent to 2 separate. And I would leave it this way. On the mat, that's our 12 by 12. It's too big for 8.5 by 11, so it won't even let you choose it. So we're going to go to our green. Same with the green, we're doing on the mat. Blue on the mat. And let me see, maybe, let's do this blue. Let's change it to 8.5 by 11. So the option is here. See that? And it does fit. It'll just give you 2. You have to send it to 2. And I usually have more colors than 8.5 by 11. And then we have our pink, which we're going to do on the mat. And I mean, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm always clicking something. It's set to 12 by 12. You don't have to unless you visually want to see the 8.5 by 11 mat. But since it's so small, you just lay whatever piece of cardstock, even a scrap of cardstock, you can keep there. Now, so that's it. We're going to continue. We're going to go and cut all of these pieces. I just have to remind you, if you are doing a double-sided centerpiece, this is how I do it. I send all these pieces to cut. After I assemble everything, I'm going to come back in, send everything to cut again, but then I'm going to mirror every piece. Remember, when it's the other side, it has to be mirrored. So you have to mirror everything. You cannot cut just 2 pieces, all of them the same like this, because when you put them back to back, they will not match up. So what I'm going to do, I'll probably, since Elmo with just a few colors, I'll do Elmo so you can see 2-sided. So once you press continue now, it's going over to our machine. And I'm going to show you some of them cutting, but you don't need to see every layer being cut. All of this cardstock I'm using will be 65-pound cardstock. I usually just choose medium cardstock as my setting. And then I go ahead and cut everything on that green mat. All right, so we have all of our pieces cut. I'm going to start with the sign. Now, we're going to glue the yellow, then the green. Before you glue anything, just make sure, always make sure, even if it looks right, it's the right fit. Then we're going to flip that bad boy over. I'm using this Zig glue pen. You can get it from Amazon or Michael's. And it doesn't have to be this. You want to use Elmer's glue, whatever glue, use it. If you're going to use a glue gun, though, just make sure you're able to move fast. And if you're going to use a glue gun, what I would say is glue 1 piece at a time. I used to use a glue gun for everything because I didn't know about all these other different glues. If you have a tape gun, you know, tape runner, things like that, you can use any type of adhesive. So we're going to press it down piece by piece. Just to make sure it matches up. And let me show you what I do when if I'm ever a little bit off, which I am a little bit here. Now, it might not be anything, but that little, and this little piece right on this end here, that really drives me crazy to actually see that little piece out. So what I would do is, and because it won't affect the design, I usually trim it if I don't get it 100% correct. But it doesn't look bad or crazy, but I just, you know, prefer a little perfection here. I don't want to see the green. And then right on this edge here, it's just a little bit, so I just trim it. Again, you don't have to. But for me, especially when you're making something for a paying client, I strive for perfection. Now, you have this piece, and then you just lay it there. I would advise to get your glue in all the little grooves, because you want them to lay down. You don't want to see any pieces of the letters kind of standing up. So it might look like, you know, it'll be easy to just glue down the ends. Don't do that. Don't do that. You want every part of the sign to lay down. Your gluing technique don't have to be perfect. Nobody's seeing that. And again, I'm trying to get it as perfect as I can. So what I do, I flip it over and then just press it down so that all of the little in the middle pieces gets pressed down. See? And then it's all flat. And don't forget our little pieces that I remind you about. So what I do, I usually use this little tweezer from Cricut. Put little dots of glue on it and try to get this as much as you can in the center. That looks right. Same for here. And now our street sign is ready. We're gonna put that over on the side to dry. So we're gonna start first with the easier option, which is Elmo. Now let me show you how I glue these together. First things first is make sure it's the right way, like, you know, the right direction. So you place them together, they match up, but also bring in your pieces just to see if it line up and it's the right way. Now, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna get a piece of cardstock. I don't choose like a specific piece, but maybe like an inch thick. And then it's gonna go behind here. And I allow it to stick out because I'm gonna just trim that piece off. So we're gonna go back to our glue pen. And remember, it's all black, so the back doesn't look bad. And if you're doing double-sided, you're definitely not gonna see it. So we're gonna put a bunch of glue. Then you're gonna take it, put it behind, make sure a good amount is there, and press that down. Now, before you line up the other piece, I put a generous amount of glue along the line. Then I line it up. This is the fast way. You can also glue this together before you cut if you're cutting on a 12 by 24 mat, and just glue 2 pieces of cardstock together on your mat, right? So I'm gonna let that dry a little. And that's where you can come in. If you have like the X-Acto knife, you could put this on your mat, trim it off, or just use the scissors. I just wanna make sure it's dry for a good amount. So we're going to just trim it along the line. There you go. And now we have one large piece. Now, just to put, you want to line everything up before you glue, just to make sure they're in the right spot. His nose is over here. And I have all my white pieces up here. I gotta find, here we go. So you line it up. Make sure it is where it needs to be. Right? Then take off piece by piece. It doesn't have to be centered until you're ready to press it down, right? When you take it off, make sure you have it at the right part. We're gonna move Elmo over just a little bit, flip it to the other side, and let's glue. Hopefully this scratching on the desk isn't driving you nuts. And remember, if you want to do it double-sided, you're going to repeat this, but mirror each piece. So we're going to line up Elmo's legs. There we go. I'm almost shifting and getting a little cockeyed there. It's okay. Well, we're going to fix you up, boy. Same here. Get your glue. And it does come out blue, but it dries clear, so don't worry about that. I was thinking, there is a comment section in the class here, so let me know if you need to see a mirrored version, because it'll be the same exact thing, just mirrored, and you just place it on the other side. I can go back and re-record, but for the class, I'm just showing you just exactly how to make it. The back is just mirrored and place it. Or if you don't want to comment in there, email me at theacademy@craftprint.com and I'll do the other side. Now these pieces, I always just hold them with that. Now, like I was saying, Elmo is easy peasy. He doesn't have too many colors, too many layers. And there you have it. Elmo is done. We're going to put him on the side and move on over to our multi-layered boy, Ernie. So same process with his attaching his other half. Now these don't even have to be perfect or even straight. We're trimming it, so it's okay. But I definitely should have measured. Hold on. See that? I'm not going to use that. Come back and use my brain and just make sure it's a little bit longer, which will be here. But you want it to go further than your design, just to make sure the entire thing is covered. Let's see now. See that? Much better. So let's get a lot of glue here. Again, if you purchase 12 by 24 cardstock with a 12 by 24 mat on the Cricut website, you can avoid this. You just cut your whole entire thing. You didn't even have to slice this baby. Just send it. And usually when I have orders, that's what I'll do. But not everyone buys the large mat, so I wanted to show how to do it without it. Line it up. And when you line it up, just push it up a little to make sure the seam like hits, so you don't see nothing. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to avoid my thumb, which my nail ripped, and as you guys see, I burned my hand. I'm just a mess. But it's not about that. We're making centerpieces. Okay. Same thing. Also, if you want to get a little behind it, if you don't think you get a perfect trim, that's fine too. There we go. All done. Now, here goes the troublemaker. On the side, you want to have your screen open. I have my computer open with the image. I went back on the canvas to make sure I know where everything goes. So this is the first one. Then comes the shoe pieces. Which is this one. Let's make sure we line that up right. See what I was talking about? This is why you need it open. I had it upside down. It's this way. And this is why I always have a picture available. Now, it's not going to be straight when you lay it down, because you know when you peel it off, but you want to know where everything goes before you start gluing. Then the pants. There we go. Then the next layer, what I'll do first is his face. So his face goes right here. The yellow is right here. Then comes this red piece right here. Just take your time with this part. I'm going to choose the blue that's right at his neck here. See how it moves? But don't worry about that. It's just for us to make sure. Then this piece goes here. And then we keep it moving. We have the yellow. Now there's two different yellows that look similar. One is a little longer than the other. Let me just get it. This one goes here. This is what I'm gonna do with this. Just since it's curling up, there we go. I just kind of curled it in the other direction. And then this one goes here. Then this blue piece, I'm gonna shift this a little. This blue piece sits right under here. Again, you see it's curled upward. I'm just gonna, just to help me out, curl it down. There we go. And it lays down a little bit better. Then we have the red piece. Then now our white pieces. So right in here goes this little white piece. And then we have this one that literally sits right in here and it's curled a little upward. So again, I'm just gonna curl it down. And look at that. Look at Ernie. Not really stressing us out too much. Still have some more pieces though. So we're gonna drop his nose in there. It doesn't have to be perfect until we put the glue. The mouthpiece, which in this part is like, to me, the easiest, right? His tongue goes there, his hands go here, and then we have these little pieces at the bottom of his feet. We're going to grab, one of them has like a straight line. It's not a complete circle. Let me bring it closer. That one goes here. I'm not gonna place it because it's just so tiny to get in there. I'm just gonna make sure I have them lined up right where I need them. Come here, little piece. So the more layers and pieces the design have, like the more intricate, the more time you're going to spend, right? Then we have the little curves of the sneakers. What I would do with this one is just make sure it fits each part, because they look the same and you don't want to put glue on it and it's not the piece. So that one fits right here. I'm just going to lay it in the direction I need it and have it there. And this one, it does fit right here and like that. So there we have it. This yellow, I'm just going to do the same thing, just so that it curves downward and stays still a little for me. There we go. We have the hands. You can choose to put it there if you're ready. I'm not gonna lay it until, you know, last one is ready to glue. So let's start putting this bad boy together. So I'm gonna start with his pants, because it kind of lines up for the top and the bottom here. So I want to move him just a little bit, not too much, right? Same gluing process. Especially these little pieces, I do not advise using the glue gun. I love my glue gun. I use it more than I should probably, even on intricate pieces, but don't. You want to give yourself, this dries quick, but not like right away. So if you needed to move it over a little bit or anything, you can. You have a little bit of time, a few seconds. Oh, also one reminder I wanted to tell you. Before you do this, I know I should have said it at the beginning, but I know everybody washes their hands and stuff, but paper cardstock picks up every little oil in your fingers. Because even if you get the glue on your fingers and you touch it, like right here, you could kind of see it. Do not lotion your hands. Do not do anything. Don't even touch your skin when you're about to do this, because it will show on the cardstock and then you got to start over. There we go. We're going to line it up as best as we can there. You can like just dot it. I do in like smaller pieces, but larger areas, just a little zigzag. So we're gonna lay this here. Just press everybody down. Make sure they stay in place. And now we can do these little pieces that we have on the edge. There we go. Let's try to make sure it's centered. And the bottom half is done. Now let's move to this sweater here. So this piece goes right here. I'm gonna remove it and glue it. And all I'm gonna do is repeat this with every piece. I'm just getting down to get a little bit closer. So what I do is I try to pick it up with one of these just so my chubby fingers aren't pushing the whole entire design over. And also, if you don't get it like perfect, it's okay. Just try to get it centered as much as you can. If you're pretty new, like fairly new to paper crafting, it's just something you get used to with time. So don't feel bad if you feel like it's a little crooked. Practice makes perfect. So we're going to line this baby up as best as we can. There you go. There you go. All right, so instead of going one up by one up, I'm going to do the neck and then do this, and then like one here, one here, one here, one here. So I kind of end up in the center. So I'm just gonna make sure his head is where it needs to be. And remember, take your time. So I was talking about last month, I had 10 of these to make, each a different character, double-sided. Make sure you give yourself time so you're not rushing. There we go. So that piece is down that I'm gonna work on. Easy, easy, easy. The top blue. There we go. Got it. So now that that's down, we can line this little yellow piece up. Just gonna put it on here. How we looking? We looking good. We're looking great. All right, so the blue, let me get this little The white, I'm gonna wait because I want to center it. So I'm gonna do the blue first. There we go. I feel like I was holding my breath there. I don't know. Then we kind of just put this in the center. That way, if you're off on any one on the top and the bottom, you won't notice because now we put this, you know, centered in between them and it doesn't look, you know, too off. All right, so now I'm gonna grab the red. Try to grab it. It's not much to be moved, but still. All them dots will drive me crazy and take me forever to do. So we're gonna, just the slim parts. There we go. So I'm just going to, you know what, move you. Maybe I should have kept you, who knows? All right, there we go. Line that baby up. There we go. Now do the white part. So it's going to, there we go. Look at us, look at us, yellow. So we're gonna align that here and get those in the middle. Look, and his sweater is done. Good now. We put our hand in. And if you guys make it, make sure you tag me. I would love to share your work. And if you're new, don't be afraid of paper craft. And I think it's one of the easiest and most inexpensive besides the machines. You know what I'm saying? Crafting styles to start. Just buy some paper and practice. When I tell y'all my first set of items looked like trash, it sure did. But with time, lots of patience, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get it good. So just make sure everybody's pressed down. We're gonna do, now if you lay it on top of here, be very careful with the glue. I'm gonna say that and I'd probably still end up getting glue on this. So I'm just gonna come to the side. I could tend to be a klutz, okay? And for the class, it's okay if a little bit of glue got on his pants, but for a customer, you don't want it because it doesn't look like glue. And for someone just ordering a centerpiece from you, they're most likely probably not a crafter, so they're not gonna know it's glue. It's gonna be like, did she give me a dirty centerpiece? So you don't want to do that. Now we're getting the mouthpiece together here. Come on now, Ernie, come on with it. Right in the center. And then, of course, look, just his look. Oh, I'm shaking the table. All right, be careful. Y'all don't mind me. Y'all know I'm a little bit goofy sometimes, but you don't want everything to always be serious, all right?
Crafting is fun. Happy times. There we go. Nose.
Look at how we looking. Look at how we looking. Look at how we looking. So the last part are the eyes. You're just gonna make sure you have the right one for each part, then glue it. Always make sure, and I'm telling you from experience of me just grabbing a piece, throwing glue on it, only to find out I put glue on the side that's supposed to be facing up. So take your time. Take your time. Because one thing I hate is to have to go back and cut, especially just a little piece. Drives me nuts. And look at that. There we have it. Fully layered. Look at our boy. Look at our boy. Hello. Hello. Okay. So I had to back up a little, and I'm going to have to get in the video for this one. So now you would line up your character. And what I would usually tell you to do, see the top of his head is here, right about here, about 2 inches in. This would be where you mark right here, and this from here down is where you would glue. Just a little mark, like that. So you take the glue gun, sorry for walking across the screen, guys. You're gonna put a whole bunch of glue from that point down, which I am not going to do right now because I wanna show you guys what Elmo looks like and what Ernie is going to look like on there. So we're gonna get Elmo, and you would do the same thing. Right here, and glue from that part down. But first, we're going to get this sign going. So you have your sign. I always put it off a little to the side. But I usually glue my sign with my character on it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get some 2-sided tape just to hold him there for visual purposes. Now this is just a double-sided, like, what is it, foam tape, guys? That you get from the Dollar Tree. You don't wanna use this, I told y'all it was a klutz, right? For an event, because it's easy to come off. But if you want to, you can. If you plan on maybe renting them so that you can reuse them. So we're gonna stick him right there, see? So now when you put it, you see his hand is here. Now when we do it here, we want the hand to be facing that way. So that's why you'd be mirroring. And also, you see where we glued that line? It doesn't even look crazy, you know? So this is how our boy looks standing on the centerpiece. So the street sign, you want a little space from the top and here. So I would do this. Now, if you want to put it in the center, you can do that too. Solely up to you. For some reason, I like to see it on the side. So what I would do, just decide there where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put a nice generous amount of glue here. And what you want to do before the glue dries, step back real quickly. Make sure it's straight before that glue dries, and then hold it there for a little. Right? How we looking? Too cute. That's how we look. Now, remember I was telling you about the foam ball and 2 ways to put it on there? So I'm going to show you. So when I first started doing this, I just took the glue gun, dabbed glue up top here, and that's why I say paint it, because you see the little, and took the ball and just stuck it there. Now, nothing wrong with that, but here's why I changed it when I was doing the last centerpiece. Oh, wait a minute. You guys can't even really see it. There we go. So that's what it looks like. Let me move you up. Make sure you guys can see. Don't mind the stand. There we go. Please don't judge me by moving this like that, okay? I just want to make sure you guys can see. I grabbed the top, right? You see, it's staying on, but doesn't stay good. And it came off. So I'm like, wait, what if they did the same thing while moving it or in a rush? What's a good way to get it to stay better? And this is what it's going to be. Grab that drill bit that we used to make the hole in the base, and you're going to actually drill it into the foam ball. Yes, you heard me. Drill it into the foam ball. So let's get the drill. We're going to open it back up. We're going to put the bit back in. It's just me and we're going to make it tight. You're going to hold the ball, and you're not doing like nothing crazy, okay? Right here. Just a little bit in, poke it in. Do not hold your hand on there. Just keep pressing a little bit. There we go. See? Now, you add some glue on the top. Put some around the edges inside. You know it's gonna melt the foam a little, but it's okay. And then put this on top so it sits on top of that. You see that? And that's a little bit more secure. And there we have it. There is our Sesame Street centerpiece. Now let me see how easy he comes off. So we can put, there we go. So one side stayed on the back, the other side stayed there. So if you want to do that, this is a good way if you plan on reusing these centerpieces, I guess. You just got to be real careful at a party with children. So we're going to put that on, peel it off. Then we're going to put Elmo. Same thing. There we go. And there you have it. Sesame Street centerpiece. So let's go a little closer now so you can see. See how that went and it sits on top of it now? How gorgeous. Now, if you're making it double-sided, and these, I think some people put foam in the center. This is one centerpiece. I do not add foam to make it like thick. It doesn't need it. I just put the other one on the other side. When you put them, you just line them up. So let me know if you guys need me to like actually do the other side for you, but it'll be the same repeated process. Just make sure you mirror every layer. And that's it, guys. That is our Sesame Street centerpieces. So cute. Also, let me know what other centerpiece you'd like me to do a class for. And for small projects, I can do YouTube tutorials. So make sure also you guys are following the CraftPrint on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you have fun making these centerpieces yourself.